Hey guys, my name's Eric. I'm with Painting Business Pro, and in this video we're going to talk about if you should start a painting business in 2018. For the last 12 years, I've taught hundreds of people how to start a painting company, so I've been through this once or twice, and we're going to look at three things in this video. We're going to look at why you should start a painting business, we're going to look at why you shouldn't start a painting business, and we're going to look at some of the other considerations that go into whether or not you should start a painting company, because before you start anything, you make a decision to start. So at this point, I'm guessing you're someone who knows you want to be an entrepreneur, you want to work for yourself, you want to own your own business, you want to be your own boss, and now it's just a matter of, should I start a painting business or should I look for something else? So that's what we're going to cover in this video. So let's start with why you should start a painting business. So first, why you should start a painting business. So there's 5 main things that really go into what makes a painting business a great business to start. So the first thing is the market. All right, so there's a huge market for painting. There's residential painting for homeowners, there's residential painting for builders, there's commercial painting for apartments and condominiums, and there's commercial painting for buildings and offices, there's industrial painting, there's new construction, there's renovations happening. There is an absurd amount of painting going on. And the best part about our market in the painting industry is not only how big it is and how much business there is, but it's always growing, because every single building out there needs to be painted, not once, not twice. It needs to be painted again and again and again. And every year there's more buildings being built. So every year the market gets bigger, and it's a recurring market, and it's a need, not a luxury. This is something people will spend money on. Even when the crash happened in 2008, people are still spending money to maintain their homes. All right, so there's a great market, millions and millions of dollars of painting in just even small cities. All right, so there's a ton of business out there. Number 2 is it's very low startup costs. No kidding, I started my painting business with $200 and made profit in my first 2 weeks, and I've taught a ton of people to do that. Okay, so you can start with next to nothing, and you can make profit almost immediately, and there's very few businesses in the world that you can do that with. And so I don't look at the painting business as my end game. I look at the painting business as an amazing place to start and build a foundation and build a company that pays me and gives me my time, so then I can pursue other things like what I'm doing right now. The third thing is it's easy to learn. And I don't mean to actually paint. You know, painting is not an easy job. It's a ton of work, and there's a lot of skill that goes into actually painting. But knowing and understanding a painting business is actually quite simple, especially if you start simple. All right, so if you start a painting business, you're not going to come in and start doing $100,000, $300,000 projects with giant, tons of scope of work and all this crazy stuff. You want to start with something simple like repainting exterior homes. So if we just look at that, that's a huge market, by the way. If we just look at that, there's like 5 main problems on all exterior paint jobs. And so for each of those 5 problems, you need to know how to identify it, why it's happening, what's the best solution, and why it's the best solution. So that's what we call the prep work on a house. Once the house is prepped, then we need to apply the paint. The painters you hire will have the skill to do that. You just need to make sure you know what materials to recommend. So basically, every paint job out there is a combination of the prep work and the materials being used, and that it gets done properly. So it's really not that much to learn if you want to sell and deliver a great paint job. There's not a lot to learn. And so that's why the first 100 people I ever taught how to start a painting business had no background in painting. All right, so you don't have to know tons about painting to build a great painting business, and we'll get to more about that in a second. Next is it's profitable. All right, so the painting business is a great business. It's very profitable. I even have students who have made $100,000 in their first year with no background in running a business and no background in painting. All right, so you can make a lot of money in this business, and there's just great profit margins. Whether you're doing commercial, industrial, residential, there's a couple segments that don't have great profit margins, like new construction builders and tract homes. But most of the industry has really high profit margins, and you can make great money. Last is competition. There's thousands of painters out there. There's thousands of painting companies out there, but there's very few good ones. All right, and this is an industry that just has not become a professional, business savvy industry. So the competitors out there are, they're great people, but they don't they don't run their business professionally. They don't show up on time. They don't communicate well with clients. They don't have a professional sales process. They don't know how to do marketing. They don't know how to manage their business from a production in a financial standpoint. And so the level of competition out there is just terrible. And it's going to be a long time. It's going to be many, many years before this industry actually gets filled up with so many professionals that it's hard to enter the market. So there's a lot of competition, but the competition is so terrible, and you need just the tiniest little piece of the pie to to make great money. So just as an example, we're up in Fort Collins, Colorado. There's about 150,000 people who live here. There is $5 to $10 million worth of residential painting being done just by the main companies in town. And this is a pretty small city, and you can make six figures on a $300,000 to $400,000 a year painting business. So you only need to carve out a tiny little piece of the pie, and you can also expand to other cities. So that's some reasons what makes the painting business a great business to be in, is that it's not unreasonable to be able to build a $1 to $2 million business over 3 to 4 years. You can make profit right away. There's a huge market, and it's a great starting spot. So now let's look at some reasons why you shouldn't start a painting business. All right, so this might come as not a huge surprise to you, but there's 3 things that if this is what you're looking for, you shouldn't start a painting business. And in fact, you probably shouldn't start any business at all. And the first one is if you're looking for a shortcut. If you're looking for a business that you're going to start and you're going to immediately, very quickly be making hundreds of thousands of dollars and not working, and you're trying to find a shortcut. Shortcuts don't exist. Trust me, I looked for them for a long time, and I came back to what really works, which is the painting business. All right, so if you're looking for a shortcut, you probably shouldn't be in business, and you definitely shouldn't be in a painting business. It's going to take hard work. That's the second thing. Like, if you're not ready to work your ass off, don't start a business. All right? There's a reason why a lot of people really want to be business owners. It provides an amazing lifestyle, right? If you can control your time and you can control your income, you basically can do anything you want in life. And you can spend time with friends and family, and you can travel the world. And like, you look at anybody's bucket list, to accomplish a bucket list or accomplish anything in life, it requires time or money or both. And being an entrepreneur can provide that. That's why everybody wants to be an entrepreneur. So why isn't everybody an entrepreneur? Well, because it takes a lot of work. A lot of people get weeded out. In fact, most of the people I see fail, they just quit before they were successful. So if you're not willing and ready to work your butt off, then you shouldn't start a painting business. And then the last one here is just failure. Like, if you don't have a tolerance for failure, if you're not ready to fail, you're not ready to get your ass kicked and learn from it, then you shouldn't be starting a business either. In fact, in my experience, all of business success is built on failure. So, when I start something, the things I'm successful at, great, but the places I fail reveals to me where I need to improve something to take my business to the next level. So failure is fundamental to success, and you've got to be ready to fail, and you've got to be okay to fail, and you've got to be able to get back up again and keep going. Because everything I said that's great about this business, that's great, but it still comes with a lot of hard work, a lot of failure. And then the last thing that I didn't put on here is that kind of is a reason not to be in business, is you are 100% responsible now, right? Like, everything that doesn't go well, you don't have the right to complain anymore. You don't have the right to, just blame other people. Like, it's all on you. And you've got to start taking responsibility for all of it. People don't show up on time. It's not their fault. It's yours. Customers aren't signing with you and they're signing with the cheaper guy. That's not the cheaper guy's fault. It's yours. You didn't do a good job selling. You have to be willing to take responsibility if you want to be successful. So you could also say a reason you shouldn't do it is there's a risk you could not succeed. But the only time I've seen people not succeed is not because they've been working at it for 10 years and they're just still not successful. It's because they quit. They quit before they're successful. All right? So you've got to be willing to commit to something to make it successful. And so now we're going to look at just some other considerations and some things that you need to be thinking about besides like the opportunity of this business, besides the character that you're going to need. Who are you going to need to be, and what are you going to need to deal with to be successful? If you've got all those, great. A couple other things. So let's look at those now. All right, so now let's look at these last few considerations. So first thing is, are you ready to work your butt off and do whatever it takes to be successful? That's a question you need to ask yourself. The payoff is worth it, I promise. I've seen amazing things people have produced, by taking on this business. So it's worth it. It's just a question, are you truly, really willing and ready to do whatever it takes and to work your butt off to make it successful? Next, do you really want it, as in, do you really want to be a business owner? All right, there is something different about the lifestyle of being a business owner. All right, you are responsible for it at the end of the day. When the day is over as an employee, you're done and you got nothing else to think about. But oftentimes, one of the things that entrepreneurs deal with is taking work home with them, and it's on your mind often. All right, we've got training courses and stuff to help people with that aspect of it, because I think, people should have a good balance as an entrepreneur, and that's really, really important. In fact, to being successful entrepreneurs, we have coaching and training about how to do that. But nevertheless, are you sure you want to be a business owner, and are you sure you want to be 100% responsible for the people who work for you, for your customers, for the failures, for the upsides? Are you ready? Are you sure you want to be that? And you just got to ask yourself that question. Next is, you do need to check, do we need a license where we operate? Like, I know in California you need a license, in Florida you need a license, and everywhere around the US there's some places that you need a license, some places you don't. In all cases that you need a license, there's a way to get a license no matter who you are and how much experience you have. All right, so it's not a matter of can I start this business, it's just a matter of what are going to be some of the steps that I'm going to need to take to start this business. And then last thing is startup costs. And what are my actual startup costs going to be? And do I actually have the funds to start it up? And that's that. All right, so these are some other things that you're going to need to consider before you really pull the trigger. And so what we're going to do is, in the next video, we're going to be talking about how do you start a painting business in 2018? What are the startup costs? How do you get your business set up? How do you get your first customer? How do you sell your first job? And how do you produce your first job, even if you have no background in painting? All right, so that's what we're going to talk about in the next video. And if you have any questions, go ahead and drop them below in the comments. And I really listen to the comments, and that tells me what videos need to be made and what other information people need out there in order for you to know whether or not you're going to be able to start a painting business or not. You can also find below this video a little bit more information on our website about how to start a painting business and how to grow a painting business for that matter. So check that out, and we'll see you in the next video.